Denzel Washington sat at the end of the view's table, his back straight, hands folded together in a way that made it clear he hadn't come here to nod politely and go home. Whoopi Goldberg sat across from him, eyes sharp under the studio lights, her note cards stacked but untouched. The audience watched the two of them like they'd wandered into a church fight they couldn't leave. Whoopi started it warm, her voice carrying that old velvet edge. Denzel Washington, Hollywood legend. Good man. I know you care about this country. So tell me, why have you been so vocal lately? So combative. Denzel's voice came out low, that rumble that didn't need to rise to land hard. It's not combative, Whoopi. It's just the truth. Someone in the front row let out a nervous little laugh. It died so fast the hush wrapped tighter around the table. Whoopi tilted her head, that polite smile stiff. People come on this show to have a conversation, not to throw bombs. You know that. Denzel didn't blink. Conversation only works when everyone at the table wants it. Some people just want a show. Joy Behar tried to break the tension with a soft giggle. Well, we are a show, Denzel. He turned to her, eyes steady but soft. Joy, a show's fine until it starts pretending it's the truth. A soft ripple in the back row. Someone coughed. Someone shifted. The hush held. Whoopi's voice sharpened a notch, that velvet gone. So you think we're pretending? Denzel leaned in, elbows on the table now, hands clasped. I think a lot of people sit here every day acting like they care about people they've never met. And when the cameras go off, they don't. Sarah Haynes shifted in her chair. Her eyes darted to Whoopi, then to the audience. She tried to lighten it. Come on, Denzel. We talk about real things every day. Race, poverty, injustice. You know that. He nodded. Talking about it is easy. What's harder is telling the truth about why nothing changes. Whoopi's smile cracked for the first time. And you're going to tell us, huh? You're going to sit here and tell America it's our fault things don't change. Denzel's voice dropped lower. I'm going to tell America that the people paid to talk about the problem are too scared to do something that costs them. The hush cracked again. A couple in the second row exchanged a look. Someone's shoe tapped the floor once, then went still. Whoopi's laugh came out brittle. Denzel, you're an actor. You've got your millions. Your awards. Don't come here preaching like you're the only one who cares. Denzel's stare didn't waver. I'm not the only one. I'm just not scared of losing this seat. Joy tried again to break it. What does that mean? Losing this seat? Denzel looked straight at Whoopi. It means when the truth costs you your place at the table, you say it anyway. The hush pulled tighter. The lights overhead felt hot enough to melt the forced grin off every face around him. Whoopi Goldberg's smile vanished, so clean it looked like it had never been there. She leaned back in her chair, arms folded tight, eyes locked on Denzel, like she was waiting for him to flinch first. He didn't, she said, her voice clipped. So you think you're the only one at this table who knows what truth is? Denzel's tone stayed steady, that quiet rumble that always made people listen twice. No, Whoopi. I think I'm the only one here who's willing to lose something to say it. Sarah Haynes cleared her throat, voice a notch too light for the hush wrapped around them. I mean, look, Denzel, we're all trying here. We're here every day talking about what's broken. That counts for something. Denzel turned his eyes on her. Kind, but that kindness didn't make his words any softer. Talking doesn't cost you anything when the camera cuts to commercial. The audience didn't laugh, didn't clap, just that low shift, a ripple like someone holding in a cough so they wouldn't miss the next line. Joy Behar tried to drag it back to safe ground. So what, you think we're all sellouts? Denzel shook his head once slow. No, I think too many people who could tell the truth trade it for applause. Whoopi leaned forward again, her elbows hitting the table with a dull thud. You're saying that to me? I've spent my whole life telling the truth. Denzel's jaw tightened. And how much did you hold back because you knew saying it would cost you this seat? That hush hit like a slap. Not a gasp, not a cheer, just that cold quiet when you know there's no laugh track to hide behind. Whoopi's voice rose, that familiar heat rising under her words. You don't know what I've done. You don't know the weight we carry doing this show. Denzel's voice stayed low. I know you carry the weight you're willing to lift. And you leave the rest for people you'll never meet. A man in the third row let out a soft damn, but no one hushed him. The lights felt twice as bright. The table between them looked smaller than it ever had. Sunny Hostin jumped in, her tone careful, measured like she wanted to put the fire out. Denzel, people listen to you. You have influence. But this sounds like you're blaming us. Denzel turned to her, his stare soft but steady. I'm not blaming you for the world being broken. I'm saying you don't get to stand on this stage and act like you're shocked it stays broken when you won't pay the price to fix it. Whoopi's chair scraped the floor as she sat back, arms crossed tighter than ever. So what? You want a medal for saying this here? Denzel leaned in, just enough to close the gap between them. I don't want a medal. I want people to remember the truth doesn't care about your comfort. The hush cracked, a cough, a chair shifting, but nobody clapped. Nobody dared. Whoopi's voice dropped low, cold as glass. You're playing with fire, Denzel. He didn't blink. Good. Joy Behar shifted in her seat, her note cards forgotten in her lap. She let out a nervous chuckle that died before it could bounce. So what happens now, Denzel? You come on The View, tell us we're fake, and then what? Drop the mic. Denzel's eyes didn't move from Whoopi's. His voice came out softer than ever, each word a quiet hammer on the hush. There's no mic to drop when the truth's this heavy. The audience didn't dare laugh. A woman near the front row sat forward, hands clasped tight in her lap, like she was bracing for the floor to crack open. Whoopi's mouth twitched, but the smile never showed. You really think you're helping anything right now? You think you're so righteous? Denzel didn't flinch. I think sometimes people forget that telling the truth doesn't make you righteous. It just makes you honest. Sarah Haynes tried to step in, her voice too soft to push back the tension. But Denzel, what's your answer? We sit here, we ask the questions, we bring on voices. He turned to her, his eyes kind but steady as stone. Your answer is stop acting shocked when the same questions never get you new answers. The hush cracked again, someone shifted, a chair leg scraped. Still, no one dared to clap. Whoopi leaned forward, her elbows back on the table, her tone sharper than glass. So you came here to embarrass us? That your plan? Make us look small in front of our audience. Denzel's jaw set, his words landing so low they made the lights feel twice as hot. You make yourselves look small when you protect your seat more than the people watching you. Sunny Hostin shook her head, voice clipped, the only one trying to hold the rope between calm and chaos. Denzel, people look up to you. They trust you. But this isn't respect. This is an ambush. Denzel turned to her, his voice warm, but the words stayed cold. Respect isn't nodding along when you know better. It's saying what everyone's too scared to say. Joy's laugh slipped out like a squeak. So what, you want to get kicked off? You want the headline that says you stormed out because The View couldn't handle you. He looked at her, unblinking. No, I want the headline to say I told the truth in a room that asked for it, but didn't want it. The hush rippled like a sheet pulled too tight. A man in the back row whispered, he's going to get thrown off. Whoopi's chair scraped back as she stood, her hands braced on the table. You think you're the only one with a backbone, Denzel? I've fought this fight longer than you've been giving speeches. Denzel's stare never wavered. Then maybe it's time to swing harder. The hush buckled, not laughter, not applause, just that raw edge when the lights can't hide the heat anymore. Whoopi's voice dropped, that old velvet gone for good. You're done here. Denzel's reply came out calm, final. Not yet. Whoopi Goldberg stood with her palms flat on the table, her note cards untouched but trembling under her fingers. Denzel Washington stayed seated, shoulders squared like he'd rooted himself to that chair on purpose. The audience leaned so far forward they might have fallen in if they'd breathed too loud. Joy Behar's voice cracked through the hush first, brittle but trying to sound light. Come on, Denzel. Take it down a notch. You don't have to go nuclear. Denzel's eyes flicked to her, calm but sharp enough to sting. Taking it down is what got us here. Sarah Haynes shifted, her tone the last thread holding the show's old comfort together. If we're all yelling, nothing changes. Denzel's voice dropped lower. If no one yells, nothing changes either. A soft rose from the back row. Not a laugh, not a clap, Just that sound people make when they hear a line that's too true to ignore. Whoopi's jaw tightened. Her voice landed like glass under a boot. You think you're the only one who's tired, Denzel? You think we don't want to say more? He leaned forward now, elbows on the table, stare locked on hers. I think you're too afraid of what you'll lose if you do. The hush cracked, a shuffle of feet, a cough caught in someone's throat. Joy opened her mouth to laugh it off, but no joke came out. Whoopi's eyes flared, her fists balling on the table. I've stood on picket lines. I've marched. I've lost jobs. Don't you dare stand here and lecture me. Denzel's reply came quiet, steady. And how much have you silenced since you got this seat? A woman in the front row covered her mouth, eyes wide. The hush pulled so tight the lights seemed to hum overhead. Sarah's voice came out too soft to fix it. So what, Denzel? You want to be a martyr? The one who finally says what nobody else will. His stare softened, but it only made the words land harder. No, I want people to remember that comfort is a cheap trade for courage. Joy barked out a laugh that cracked halfway through. Then go ahead. Be brave. Walk off if you're so above it. Denzel didn't flinch. I didn't come here to walk off. I came here to say what I know you all know. Whoopi's chair creaked as she leaned in, voice so low it made the hush shiver. Say it. Then leave. Denzel's jaw tightened. His words came out like a slow hammer on stone. Stop telling people what they want to hear just to keep your seat warm. The hush buckled. Not clapping, not jeering, just the sound of a room realizing the spin had finally snapped. Whoopi's eyes didn't move. You're done. Denzel didn't blink. Not until I stand up. Denzel Washington pushed his chair back slow enough that the scrape of the leg across the floor cut through the hush sharper than any applause ever could. Whoopi Goldberg's eyes tracked him like she wanted to shout him back into that seat, but no words came. Joy Behar's forced giggle fell flat in the silence. She tried, her voice wobbling. So this is it. You're going to storm off? Make us the bad guys for doing our jobs. Denzel didn't even glance at her. His eyes stayed locked on Whoopi's. If your job is making people comfortable with a lie, then yes. A woman in the second row clutched her hands over her chest, the hush pressing so tight you could hear the boom mic buzz in the rafters. Whoopi's voice came out low, each word a hiss. Don't you dare stand there and act like you're the only honest one. Denzel stepped around the table, his steps slow, every word measured. I'm not the only honest one. I'm just the only one willing to lose your applause. Sarah Haynes whispered, her voice almost lost in the lights. But you came here for this. The cameras, the eyes, the headline. He turned to her, the softness back for half a breath. I came here because truth doesn't belong in a green room. The hush rippled. A chair creaked. Someone coughed. No one clapped. Joy's laugh cracked again. You'll come crawling back. You always do. They always do. Denzel's smile was small, quiet, and colder than any stage light. I don't need this seat. I don't need the spin. I don't need the nods when you don't mean them. He faced the audience, eyes meeting the hush like he'd been waiting his whole life to do it. Don't clap for the lie. Don't laugh when it's not funny. Don't let comfort cost you your spine. Whoopi's hands braced on the table, her mouth half open like she might fire one last shot. But the hush swallowed it before she could. Denzel turned toward the side stage, each step a quiet echo under the lights that couldn't soften what he'd left behind. A man near the back row whispered, he really did it, but nobody hushed him. The hush stayed thick, the kind that sticks to your ribs long after the feed cuts out. Whoopi's stare stayed on his back until the curtain swallowed him whole. Her note cards sat untouched, every line she'd written to keep the spin neat slipping between her fingers like sand. Some people build a seat so safe they forget why it was there. Some people stand up so the rest remember the truth never cared about the seat at all. And sometimes the hush is the loudest thing you'll ever hear. The sound of a lie cracking open and a man walking out before they can laugh it away.